All right.
Thank you. I think I have to turn up my volume because I am just not hearing. Had they started doing this earlier, I would have found another place to actually go.
The good news is we can't really hear it, or at least I can't hear it. I can hear you, but I don't hear it in the background. So
it's like totally distracting here. So if I seem a little, that's you can either consider that normal or, you know, it's distracting out there. Okay, so I did not come up with like a specific topic to cover today. I was hoping that we could just kind of talk about what we've been doing in acquisitions and just the different things that you stumble across. I know, you know, some people are EDI, some people are not EDI. There's differences in how things get processed. If you're getting, you say something, Jason? No. So I just kind of wanted to start by at the beginning of the process and kind of talk and see if I can get some interaction here with, you know, what different people do. And hopefully we can learn from each other, you know, get some ideas about what we do. So as far as ordering, I know EDI is very different from non-EDI as far as ordering goes. But the basic stuff, you know, setting up your budget, setting up your accounts or funds, I guess is the better term, setting up your funds. I noticed we had to change, we had something that got assigned to the wrong fund that we had received. And I noticed that when we tried to fix it, it was a whole lot easier than what it used to be, you know, 5 years ago or whatever. So that seemed like a good thing. I know that the bug that's supposed to allow, multiple, you to receive multiple items. Does anybody know what that bug, let me see if I can find that bug number. Because as far as I know, it's not in yet. Barbara, you don't do EDI, right?
We don't do EDI, but are you talking about the one where you can receive all at once? I think it's either 8179 or 8719.
Okay, 8179 is receiving multiple order lines at once. Yes. Oh, it failed QA. Oh. Okay. So yeah, exactly, Michelle. I'm not even sure what, you know, that's just the latest status. The whatchamacallit, the test plan for this is 26 steps long. So, ooh. All right, we can keep watching that. And if, you know, I would encourage people that are interested in this to put comments in. Let's see. The last comment. Well, let's see if I can figure out when it actually. Looks like February 8 was maybe the last thing that was done here. So that was a week ago. I would encourage people to put comments in the Bugzilla thing that, what is it again? 8179 bug. So that this is especially helpful for people that do not do EDI, who have to receive each item that comes in. So that would be a huge time saver for them. So even if you do EDI, I'd encourage you to do this, because I know we use EDI for 3 of our vendors, but there's still those vendors that don't do EDI, bound to stay bound. What's the other one that, well, Amazon, of course. So I'd encourage people to do that. Is there any questions or anything that you discovered related to ordering and things like that that you thought were really cool and you'd like to share?
I did like that speed up very much.
Okay. I am going to have to figure out how to turn up my volume. Here we go. Here's my volume. Oh, there. Okay. Can you say that again, Michelle?
Yeah. Am I echoing, by the way? I had to use an office because my computer doesn't have power right now. And it sounds like I'm echoing, but no, when we had that Koha upgrade that actually speeded up ordering, it is night and day, and we're still in the middle of EDI debugging, and half of our stuff is coming perfectly right, and the other half are dividing items. So if I have 3 items in the basket, they're now the price divided by 3. So I have to unreceive every single one that's multiple items and re-receive it, and it's so much faster now.
Okay, well, that's good news. That is so good. Because yeah, it was painfully slow, I think would be fair with that. Oh, thank goodness. They're stopping for a second here. Yeah, so ordering, you know, if you have questions about EDI ordering, whether, you know, if you're not doing it and you want to talk to somebody that is doing it, you know, you can send an email to me and we can, you know, if I can't do it, we can find a library that is doing EDI ordering and kind of, you know, have a mentor kind of thing going where you've got somebody that you can ask questions of and help decide if it's right for your library. I can say for us, it really streamlines a lot of our workflow. Yeah, like Michelle is alluding to, it can be painful to set it up. But once you get it set up, it's really, really helps speed things along, makes efficiency. That's the word I'm looking for. Makes things more efficient. Yeah, so then the next thing that we, you know, you order an item, then you receive the item. So that this bug that we talked about is about receiving stuff. Wow, this is a really long bug. Yeah, reported in 2012. It's now 10 years later. They're still working on it. So definitely encourage that. Is there anything that, yeah, right, 10 years is long enough. I agree with Barbara on that. Anything that, questions, ideas, things about receiving besides being able to receive multiple order lines that people have? I know that with EDI, it's kind of an automatic, you know, the electronic invoice gets sent to a FTP server and, you know, it's received automatically in the background. You know, one thing that we kind of pay attention to, note or whatever, is that the items are received probably 2 to 3 days before we actually get the items in because they send the electronic invoice and they mail the boxes on the same day. So the electronic invoices show up much quicker than the actual boxes, especially now. So, you know, we have a report that I run every 2 or 3 months, and just to see what our door to floor time is, you know, turnaround from when something hits us, you know, which is the receive date for us, to when we actually do the first check-in for it. And, you know, so you need to, for us, we have to kind of keep in mind that there's a 2 to 3 day where we have no control. We can't actually, all our door to floor is going to have a buffer of 3 days in it, basically, because can I share that report? I can. What is the best way to do that? Because it's kind of longish. I had Bywater write it for us. Let me see. Like I said, I run it maybe every 3 months or something like that. So I don't have the actual, here we go, report number on our system. All right. So what I can do, let's see, what am I thinking? I could add it to the wiki of reports and then let everybody know that I've added it. I can do it today. It's a, so the one that we use most actually is the date accessioned. I said that correctly. I usually don't. I usually say date ascensioned, but it's accessioned. And yeah, I like the wiki idea. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. So I will add it to the wiki, and I don't think, let me just look at it real quick. Reports. There we go, maybe. So this is, okay. So average day from receipt to available. And then what you need to do is specify the time period that the item was first available. So when I run this, so I give it a time period, like a start date and an end date. Pardon me. So usually I run this for a fiscal year. So I will give the first date of the fiscal year, and then the end date will be whatever day I run it, so that I can see what our turnaround is for getting things out on that. So I will put that in the wiki. And let's see. I was actually going to look at it and make sure there wasn't anything. Yeah, this is pretty generic. So you should be able to just put it on your system and run it. So I will put that in the wiki, and then you guys can pull it down if you want. Does anybody else have any reports that you run regularly, just to kind of keep track of, budgets, or what I really miss is our other system that we migrated from would calculate the percentage of your budget that was still like available, or how much you had spent. You'd spent, you know, 50% of your budget. You know, just staring at the numbers, that math just doesn't come naturally to me. I was curious if anybody had done any reports that would show you the percentage of the budget that was like to be spent or that you had spent. Anybody have anything like that? I throw it in a spreadsheet, old school. Okay. All right. Yep. That's a good way to do it too. Okay. I'll have to, this report is helpful. Does anyone have a report that can determine the time it takes for an item? Okay. For an item to be received from the time of order to physical receipt. Does anybody have that from the time it was ordered to the time that it was received? Is that right?
Would it be an average? Because some things come like immediately and other things go into backorder hell for 7 months.
Right. Yes, especially now.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, the number that, like the number I come up with for this 9, well, you don't care what my report number is. For the report that I run for the average, for the door to floor time, you know, is definitely an average of what comes in, because yeah, some stuff, well, you know, we get things that are 2 weeks from release date. You know, the Ingram will send it to us 2 weeks before we can even release it. So, you know, that's out of our control. You know, we have it ready and ready to go as, you know, on the release date, but you know, we will have it ready before then. Oh, okay. Get an idea of the turnaround time with the new vendors. That's a really interesting thing. So I'm sort of wondering if I can't tweak this report that I have just to change the 2 dates, and then it would be an average. Yeah, it would definitely be an average of the time that comes in. So yeah, I will put this, go. Yeah.
I don't do acquisitions, so I can't test this at all. But I have a report that does the same sort of thing for transfers. So it compares the date difference between arrived and sent, and does some different things. So I'll just put that chunk of code in the chat, and I think you can just maybe swap out the transfers date fields for the orders date fields, and it might give you sort of the same thing. So like instead of date arrived, you would put the order date, and instead of date sent, you would put the receipt date, and that should give you the average time between the two in that first one. So there's let's see, I did variance, I did average, and standard deviation, which Koha's reports all support. So you can't just copy and paste that, but you could use those sort of functions to kind of find that information, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that should be helpful. Yeah, no, I hadn't really, yeah, we've been using the same vendors forever, so I didn't really think about I mean, they're pretty good. Of course, recently things have gotten more interesting, but that's not so much the vendor as the state of the world. Any other reports that you think would be interesting? Because so this is just making date ordered to date received. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to copy this and throw it somewhere. What's my thing?
I'm looking through all of mine because I've made a ton, but of course they're all more cataloging bent than acquisitions bent. I know I have a ton of them, but they're not really well organized in here.
System is like super slow. Their acquisitions. Things like orders not received, you know, tracking stuff. Usually the vendors help you with this too, you know, give you reports and stuff, but it's kind of nice to be able to run a report when you're interested in that information about things that you ordered but haven't come in yet. That might be something interesting. Oh, how much did we spend with each vendor in a budget year? That was helpful for us because we have kind of a, what is it, $50,000 cap, and then we have to get a contract with them, with the vendor. So we had to kind of run through, you know, we have to run through our vendors and see how much we've actually been spending. You know, we've hit that $50,000 cap, which, yeah, with our book orders we do. Okay. Does anyone have an items just received report with book cover images that they send to their librarians? Ooh. Okay. Anybody have anything even close to that?
Speaking of monster code, sure.
Yeah.
I can share my screen. Again, we don't use acquisition, so this is more of a like say hi. Maybe. No, my camera. Hello. So it's more based on date accession than anything happening in the acquisitions module, but it does do some of that stuff. So let me find where that went. Here. So this report, I have it set, I actually use it to generate a newsletter. So it's looking for items added on or after a certain date. And again, that's accession date. But if you tweaked it, you could do like receipt date from your orders table or whatever. I am in a consortium, so of course I have different branch filters. And then since I'm using it for a newsletter, I like to filter it down on publication date so that I'm getting only the newest stuff, because we have people adding stuff, old stuff, new stuff all the time. So if I change that to 2022, it's very slow because I ran it for all libraries. That's a mistake. Give it a second though. And I can show you kind of what the code looks like. Oh, I guess I ran it for a single library before I started sharing. So this is what the results kind of look like. So it just gives a list, the ISBN, and then a render of the cover image. And I am pulling cover images from Amazon. So if it doesn't have a cover image in Amazon, then it's not going to show up in this list. And the code basically is messy, nasty. It takes the ISBN and then kind of digests it into a 10-digit ISBN, because that's how the Amazon cover image URL thingy works. So it's not a perfect solution, but it can sort of go out, pull cover images back in, and render them inside the report. And I know there's something like this in the reports wiki already. I don't know. Yeah, so that chunk of code for normalizing the ISBNs is there, but it doesn't have anything on rendering. So maybe I should follow Rhonda's example and put my report out there and let everybody know that it's there too.
And then there was one question from Noah. You could include the old stuff too if you wanted, right, Jason? Just by
Yeah,
not specifying.
yeah. So that report, I have it set up to pre-populate that % sign in that field, which is basically, it's the wild card. So it's saying everything, give me everything. But if I run that for all my libraries, then it it usually times out. So that's why I put the filter on there. But yeah, the filters are pretty flexible as far as how much data you pull.
Okay. That's an interesting one. So you said you pulled this for a newsletter, just to let people know what's the new stuff that's come into the library kind of thing?
Yeah, so for our consortium, we generated a monthly newsletter and just kind of pull 10 titles that were recently added and send that to our libraries, just sort of, or all of our patrons, just sort of as a extra service.
That's cool. Yeah, because an important part of buying things for the library is then promoting it once you get it, so that people know that we have it, and then your money feels more well spent if it actually gets checked out. That kind of thing. So, okay. All right. Great question about the report with the book covers and stuff. Any other reports that people run?
I do have one. It's not nearly complex, so people probably already have one like this. Every year when we try to figure out what amount to give to each librarian to order, I run a report I titled MSRP and discount price of items bought in a fund code. So if you're doing the picture book fund code, it will pull out like, oh, the MSRP of all, we'll say 50 items was $1,000, but the discount price ended up only being $50. So yeah, I managed to order, I don't know, I'm making up numbers, 20 items. And so we can see how much to actually give to each librarian for their fund. That makes sense.
Yeah, that sounds very useful too.
Not very complex though.
That doesn't matter.
Some of the best reports are not complex.
Yes, I would agree that. I will second that. Okay.
How would I
And
add
does-
that to the wiki actually?
Yeah, if it's not there, definitely do that.
I looked through it because acquisitions is this tiny little section on the wiki. It doesn't have its own like breakout or anything.
Yeah.
But I went through them and yeah, I don't have that one there. How would I add something? Is there like a permission setting? Oh, there's a login over here. Okay, I will figure it out.
The first time you log in, somebody has to say yes, give you a blessing, and then after that you can just log in and edit it.
Thank you.
So along those lines, Michelle or anybody, is there a report that we could run like maybe year after year to compare like the past 5 years we spent X amount in each of these fund codes, seeing how they've decreased or increased and where we want to allocate our funds for the next fiscal year?
I don't have a report that does that right now. I just run it every end of the fiscal year and sometimes in the middle if people want to see what's going on. And I have a document on our SharePoint that says, okay, this is 2019. Here's the next tab, 2020. And so they can compare to year, but I don't know how to make it go back historically. You probably could because you just, in the report that I have, you type in the fund code. So if you don't have repeating fund codes, like we have ours set to blank dot 2022 or blank dot 2019. So you could pull historical data like that way. But if you just do just the same fund code every single year, it won't pull your historical data right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Shoot, I had a thought go through my head. Okay. This is probably more collection development, I don't know, kind of stuff, but weeding reports, you know, run a report that shows me stuff that has, you know, that hasn't checked out in the fill in the blank number of months, and we've purchased it and had it in our collection at least, you know, fill in the blank number of months. Show me all the stuff that's not circulating, basically. Does everybody have a report like that as well? We use that quite a bit. We're getting ready to move into, well, in a year, we're going to be moving into a new library. Hence all the loud noises outside my window. And and so we're, you know, trying to spruce up our collections and get rid of stuff that's not circulating and get rid of stuff that's, you know, checked out a lot, or at least look at the stuff that's checked out a lot to see what condition it's in, that kind of stuff. So we have a couple of reports like that. We've got one that we run pretty regularly that seems to work. I don't know if anybody's interested in something like that, or if you've got your own way of identifying the things that need to move on to their next job or whatever. Book heaven, I don't know what it is, but okay.
I've got a report that does that kind of stuff, but it's kind of tailor-made for SEKLS and the combination of collection code, location, and item types that we use. So I don't often share it, but it's I just call it the shelf list report, and it generates a shelf list of what's on the shelf, and then it allows you, it's got a whole bunch of variables that are, I can't actually paste it into the chat box because it's too big to paste into the chat box. But if I share my screen, I can pull it up here and show everybody what it looks like. Give me just a second.
That's an issue with our report too, is we've got the specific collection codes and
you guys can see my koha?
Yep.
So we have 51 libraries, and so I've got a drop down that lets you select an individual library. And then I've got some custom authorized values table that I can actually choose these four libraries all at once, and these 5 libraries all at once, because they are a district, and they think of their collection as one library with many branches. But then it allows me to choose shelving locations, item types, collection codes. I can do a left anchored call number search if I just want all of the things that start with a DVD call number. I can include all items, or I can look for just things with a not for loan status. I can say, show me the items that were added between this date and, like, I could go back 5 years, or I could go back, you know, just show me the things added between 2000 and 2022. And I've got code in here that makes, even if there are things that are older than 2000, I don't have to put that date before 2000. But I can also have limits for date last borrowed and date last seen. And I can say fewer than 4 checkouts. I can have this report include items that are checked out, or exclude items that are checked out. So it's really flexible. It does a lot of good for us, and it let me just run it, and I'll do it on Corning because they've got a really small collection. And I'll just give you the full report for what's at Corning and show you what the results look like. But I've got links out to the titles. I've got biblio number, item number, all of the information somebody might need to find these items on the shelf. And then over here, I've got issues and renewals and totals, not for loan statuses. And since we're in a large system, how many copies does this library own? And how many copies are available throughout the whole consortium? So it kind of does a little bit of everything. But like I said, that's why I can't, it's so big, I can't put it in the chat box because it is quite a long,
Yeah, it is
quite a
very
long report. I don't think it's the longest one I've got, but it's, well, we can see how many lines it is. Yeah, it's less than 200 lines. I mean, that's a tiny report for me.
Right, there you go. Okay, so I saw that Noah put another comment in the chat box. It said, we are not on Koha currently, but these reports that we're seeing that are developed by individuals, are all of these shareable? Is there a community area for sharing these things? So yes and yes. There is, all of them are shareable. And if you go, oh, let's see if I can, anybody got the wiki pulled up that you can dump the link in there? I don't.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, Noah, anything that you post on the wiki, anything that's posted on the wiki or anything that you post on the wiki is considered community property. There's also a function in Koha. Let me share my screen again. If I can find the right screen. Now let me close the chat box. There is, we have Koha set up so that there is an outside service called Mana. And so if you click on this, if you choose to use Mana, you can click on this new SQL from Mana and search the Mana database, which I'm doing a wildcard search to get a result, to get everything. But any of these reports that are shared to Mana, you can download them, import them straight into Koha. 952N field test. If I click on import, this will just bring this report, which is a really simple report, it looks like, straight into Koha. And then I can, save it, run it, and add it to my system as I see fit. Which now I got to get rid of it because I don't think that'd be a very useful report for us.
And then the SQL reports library, the link that George put in the chat box. It's, well, when I first started, it was just all one blob. It is divided up into sections now for reports on holds, reports for patrons, reports for circulation, different links like that. But then you can see there's all these different reports, and the code is actually here. You can just copy and paste and dump it into, a blank new SQL code box. And the one thing you need to watch out for, and George alluded to it earlier, is sometimes, people will put something in there with their authorized values. So, you have to substitute your authorized values in there. Okay. George, you want to address Christie's question? How do you connect to Mana? Is there a charge, and what are the benefits? So
Mana is, whoa, there we go. Sorry, I'm on the laptop that has the camera down at the top of the keyboard. So My fingers are not really that big. It's just they're in the wrong spot. Mana is a database that was set up by, I don't remember the name of the company now. It's Paul's company in France. b.Libre, that's it. I always get them confused with the other one in Canada that has the French name. And they set it up and it's established just as an open database. There are a couple of system preferences you have to set. And I know for sure that Bywater Solutions has done a video about how to connect to Mana. And you have to change a couple of system preferences, and you have to, one of them, you tell it you need a Mana authorization token and click a link, and you'll get back an email, I believe, that says this is your Mana authorization token, and you have to put that in a system preference. But once it's set up, you can share things to Mana and you can get things from Mana. I use it a little bit, but not too much, because like the wiki, things I would say about reports from the wiki is that they usually say, this is the report and this is what it's supposed to do. And this is the version of Koha it was developed on. And so you want to make sure that you're getting a version that'll work, a version of that report that's going to work on the version that you're using. If you see something that says Koha 3.12, I would probably take that with a grain of salt. It's a very old report, and it might not do exactly what you want it to. And Mana has the same issue. A lot of the reports there, they aren't well documented about what they're doing or how they work. So if you're new to reports, what I would recommend is that you go there and you get one, and then you use it and you see how to break it and how to change it and how to modify it to make it do what you want it to do. But I'm always a little leery of reports the first time I use them, to make sure that they actually do what they say they're going to do. And that, I think, is one of the biggest things I don't like about Mana, is that a lot of the reports don't say what they're supposed to do. They just have a title and SQL, and so you're not really sure what you're getting from them until you actually pull it into your system and run it.
Is there a place to put notes and stuff? We haven't set up Mana on our system either.
When you put something up on Mana, it just gets the notes that are in the notes field in the report that you're submitting. And how many of you put in thorough, detailed notes about what the reports you're writing do?
Oh, yeah.
Some of us do.
Yeah.
And some of us do that because we learned the hard way. You know, when I came to this job, we had over 2,000 reports, and only like 50 of them had notes that said this is what they're supposed to do. I had one report that was just titled question mark. And what it did was nothing. It didn't do anything useful or anything that I thought was useful. So, you know, the reports are only better, only as good as what they say they are. And if they don't say what they are, then they're probably not very good. So
I like the ones that say test on our system. That's it. Just test.
yeah, one day I deleted over 100 of those back in 2016. So
Definitely don't have a bunch of reports that just say JSON test.
Yeah. Yes.
I did go ahead and get that report that I shared up on the wiki, and I put the link in the chat for everyone. I think I got all of the sort of custom fields and codes taken out, so it should just be an easy copy paste and run.
that is one thing I would say I do like about the wiki, is that I subscribe to that wiki page. I follow it. So while we were talking, I got an email saying J. Rob has just updated the SQL page on the wiki. So
I also squat in this, so we now have the Slack channel for Bywater, and there is a report section of the Slack channel, which I have actually taken a lot of stuff from that too.
successful I am. Okay, that is all very interesting. I know I learned a few things. Does anybody have anything that they would like to ask or share? You know, we've kind of talked about reports. If anybody's got another report they're interested in, that would be great. So Noah, I'm curious, are you, what's your plan to go on Koha, or are you just kind of checking it out?
We're checking it out, I think, right now. We're kind of just evaluating what options are out there. So we're currently on OCLC's WMS system. And we're again, like, we still have some time left on our contract with them, and we may opt to renew for a period of time beyond where we're at now. But we're looking at Folio as well, and we're also looking at Koha. So we're just kind of, I think, trying to learn more. So I have 1,000 questions for you, I think, which I'll try to regulate and hopefully just, you know, get them in as maybe the months go by while we're kind of doing those evaluations. And I think going forward, we'll have folks from our groups, because we're part of a consortium. I'm with the consortium, and we'll have some of our supported libraries likely coming to some of these calls to ask questions and maybe learn more and just do comparisons about, you know, what we have today, and if we can kind of do equivalent functionality in Koha, and if there's other things that Koha might offer that you know, we can't do today. And I can tell you that one thing we struggled with for a really long time is exactly the report that I was just chatting with people saying, oh, they've got a new titles report that has, you know, where they're, you know, they're even linking out to get some cover images for and that sort of thing. We've really struggled actually with that particular, oddly enough, report. With the system that we're on now, it just isn't able to be provided in the way we want. It doesn't cover any new added items. It's only if you don't have previous holdings on that item. So a lot of our institutions might get an additional copy or whatever, and you know, they're not able to display that. It doesn't show up in the report. So it's just I'm actually learning a lot today too, just in the fact that you can create your own. And while it does require, I guess, you know, SQL knowledge to be able to write those, I think for us that's doable, and it may actually be to our benefit because we can really kind of alter the report to do exactly what we want to do. And I was just scanning through this list because another thing that had come up was, and I'll just ask if this is possible in terms of an acquisition process maybe, is I was seeing that there was a report about maybe patrons recommending things to buy. That happens at our institutions a lot. They ask faculty, you know, what should be added to the collection, and they oftentimes want to know, you know, when that item comes in, you know, who is the associated person or who is the requester for that item, for example. So that may be something else that looks like if that capability exists, then it seems like maybe some of these reports could be edited or modified to get a list of new titles that have been requested by people. And for us, that would also be a benefit. I guess that's where we are now. Sorry. And then my question maybe in all of this is around, I just didn't, if it's open time, just about, I don't do acquisitions, so I don't know the correct terminology for all of this, but we have a lot of folks that are doing like electronic acquisitions. So they're purchasing ebooks, or they have these DDA or EBA programs that they're running that might have certain funds and that sort of thing attached with those expenses. And, you know, they have database renewals that they're dealing with and all that sort of thing. Are all of those, like, is all of that sort of thing possible within Koha, or are most of you using it mainly for print processes, and then you're handling your electronic, like, outside of the acquisitions module?
So I'm gonna put the question out there. Is anybody using the Koha acquisitions budget stuff for electronic stuff?
We do. We use it for everything, for our periodicals, magazines, electronic purchases. So yeah, we have the full collection development budget in Koha, and as things are paid, we, you know, appropriate it to the correct fund code. And I just wanted to mention, Noah, on your comment on suggestions, there's a suggestions module, and since I'm in acquisitions, what I do is when the selector accepts those that are suggestions, when I place the orders, and each library may be different on how they do it, but what we do is I look at the suggestion that's been accepted in the Koha module, and then I place a hold on that for the patron that suggested it. And there is a way in Koha to notify them that you've ordered it, or that it's come in, there's an email option on that. So
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much. That's exactly what we're doing today. And that notification goes out and all that. So that in terms of like a workflow, I think that's even better. I didn't know that that would be possible. So thank you.
Can I ask Noah where you're from?
Sure. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm with PALNI. It's the Private Academic Library Network of Indiana. So we have 24 institutions here. They're all small private colleges, universities, and we also have some seminaries in our group. So our smallest is around like 100, and then our largest is around 6,000. That's Butler University. It may be the most known in our group, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely
Cool. Thanks.
yeah, there's definitely a few other academic libraries and things that are using it that you can pick their brains as far as academic. I'm at a public, but yeah, definitely. And the great thing about Koha is the community. I would encourage you to attend the general meeting on for koha-US on the second Wednesday of each month at 10:30. There's if you go to koha-US.org, there's a calendar there that shows you all. That's probably how you found out about this one. But yeah, definitely the general meeting, you can ask all kinds of questions there, and just sit and listen and learn as well. So yeah, definitely the best part about Koha is the community and the idea sharing and the all that kind of stuff. So I talked to Marci just not that long ago about how she does her new books, and we're trying to figure out how to get that to work for us. And it's just all that combined knowledge that you can get. So yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we operate very much the same way. I mean, we're deeply collaborative with all the institutions, and we have different advisory groups. So we have, an acquisitions or, sort of group, and we have groups working on fulfillment and all of that, where, these folks from the individual libraries are getting together. But we've done a lot, I think, in the OCLC community for WMS. And that's where so I'm sort of testing the waters here to see, where we can map people out to like which group sort of aligns best with the different people we have.
All right, I think we're sort of 5 minutes out, which is kind of when my goal to wrap up the meetings a few minutes, so that if you've got something else, you've got a little time to plan for your next event.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I found the Bywater Monday Minutes about MANA and how to set that up, and I put that link in the chat box.
Oh, super.
So for whoever was asking about how to set that up, the video that they have, the instructions that Bywater did are there in the chat. And it's a pretty good set.
Okay. All right. That's very useful. Yeah, there's a link to koha-us.org too for more information about our user group, which is highly recommend getting involved with that. It's a great way to meet people and just learn different ideas.
If you use Koha, then you should be a member of koha-US.
That's straight from the koha-US president. So there you go.
And even if you're not using Koha, you could spend $25 to become a member and take part, and that'd be awesome too.
Yeah. Low entry fee or whatever, just $25 to become a member. So, and we do have conferences each year. So I encourage everyone here to, oh dear, let's see, today's Tuesday. So tomorrow we vote, the voting opens for members. The voting opens for the location of the next, of this year's koha-US conference. And we have two choices this year. We can have virtual, or we can go to Kansas. So there you go. And George knows all about what's happening in Kansas, and Jason might know a little bit about what's going on there. So
Yeah, it would be in Lawrence, Kansas,
Lawrence.
specifically. So not one of those small little tiny towns like Iola.
college town, all that good stuff. So, yeah, so, yeah, again, if definitely attend the user group, join the user group, become a member, and meet some really great people. That's the biggest thing. So, all right, well, I'm going to wrap this one up then, and we'll see you all next month here. And if you have ideas or questions that you want to talk about, definitely shoot me an email and we can make that happen at the next meeting. So we have a great rest of your day and week, and we will see you later.
Thanks, Rhonda.